folks, welcome back to the Frontier Western Heritage Channel. I'm Todd Kessner outside of Bozeman, Montana here at the gun range, and today we're going to take another run at the old 3855. This is the Chief Crazy Horse Commemorative Model 94 Winchester, made in the 1980s, and we haven't been real happy with the accuracy, so we're going to take another run at this and see if we can't get a better load for this 3855. Well, if you've watched the other 3855 videos, I think I've had two so far, this will be the third one, you'll see that accuracy was nothing really to write home about. And many of you commented on the bottom under the video saying, you know, that was, your second attempt was certainly better, but it wasn't all that great. You can do better than that, it would seem. And everyone, many people anyway, were saying, slug your barrel, slug your barrel. And I'm like, well, it's 377, that's the way it comes from the factory. And finally I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and slug the barrel after multiple comments about that's what I ought to do. I don't know why I was being so stubborn about it, but I got plenty of musket balls laying around. So I did end up slugging the barrel. And two things really surprised me. Number one is that this barrel is at .380 instead of 377 like I thought it was. So right there I can tell you one of my problems with accuracy. The second thing that surprised me is I went about 8 to 10 inches down this barrel, and then that slug dropped. And it kind of hung up around the chamber. I could put a rod down there and just touch it and it fell loose. And I thought, well, I've got basically a rifle with a full choke on it. That doesn't make any sense. So just for fun, I went and tried the same thing with the bigger musket ball on my 4570, the one that's the 1886 Browning remake, quality gun. Put a slug down that barrel. That was 457, a little closer to what I expected. But it also went about 10 inches down the barrel, the slug did, and then fell. And I thought, I don't think this is the way it's supposed to be on a quality firearm. I know there's variations in groove diameter, bore, and everything else as they're machining the thing, but that seemed really, it seems really extreme for a well-made gun. And so I went and got that 4440. You guys have seen me shoot. That's a Cimarron Uberti, that 30-inch barrel 73 Winchester. I went and slugged that, and that's at 430, and that Italian, which many of us sometimes think is an inferior rifle, all 30 inches of that barrel, that slug went down the same resistance. Of course, it took quite a bit to bite into the shape itself to the grooves, but it went all the way down the barrel without falling. And I thought, my gosh, the Italians are doing a better job than the folks in Connecticut who built this Crazy Horse commemorative rifle, or the folks in Japan who built the Browning 1886. So I'm a little disappointed with our companies, with our American companies here. And even though Browning is FN and so is Winchester now. But it was surprising to me that I've got a barrel that's not consistent. So I started looking up, doing a little internet searching and trying to figure out how many of these, you know, what is barrel variation common, and couldn't really find much on it, but did run across an old NRA article that talked about it and the difference between a regular barrel that has variation and a match barrel that has very little variation, and that's really the big difference between a really accurate rifle and a so-so accurate rifle. So there's nothing I can do about this opened bore gun, and then it squeezes down toward the end, but at least put in bullets that are the right size to that smallest part of the bore. So I was able to get a hold of some Volmer precision bullets. They're copper jacketed bullets, and at 380, and we're going to see how that works out. I'm following directions from the Lyman 47th edition reloading handbook on the 3855. So we're going to try some IMR 3031 and some RX7 and see what we can do for accuracy. It is a cold and dreary day here in November at the gun range, and so we're going to have to move this along as a storm is coming in. The sky is spitting snow right now. For some reason, every time I do the 3855, it's a crappy day. But we're going to give her a try anyway and see what we can come up with for some accuracy with these new loads. Hey, I'm sorry to bring this video off the range and back into the house, but this thing has been just absolute disaster. And there wasn't any use showing 5 different loads, bullets going everywhere. I didn't get a decent group out of that entire test series and just basically wasted some really good bullets. And it's just incredibly frustrating because, as I said in the earlier part of the video, when I slugged the barrel, the ball fit tightly about 8 or 10 inches and then just dropped out of sight, and which obviously indicates that the entrance from the breech to about 10 inches from the end is much bigger than the end. And so, as I kind of joked, it's a full choke 3855. It's a Crazy Horse commemorative, and folks might say, well, you know, Winchester made those to hang on the wall and take a look at because they're really pretty, and nobody ever expected that they would get shot. If that's the case, and that was Winchester's thinking in the early 1980s, shame on them. I mean, this is an American company. It was owned by U.S. Repeating Arms, I think, at the time, and operating under the Winchester name. And they might as well, if they're just going to make something to hang on the wall, they could have just done a non-firing replica, because this rifle is slightly better than that, but not much. So I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed greatly in the American-made, supposedly Winchester Model 94 in the early 1980s. It's very disappointing. They ask a pretty good chunk of change for it. You got to get a rifle that you can put into a pie plate consistently at 100 yards with open sights. The sights really aren't that great either. We noticed on a very cloudy day they were hard to see, and so that contributed somewhat. Easily could have got groups much better. I should be shooting 2 to 3 inch groups easy, and then fine tune from there, and it just is not going to happen so far with this gun. So I brought it back here in the lodge, and I'm going to demonstrate for you what this looks like when you slug this barrel, and how it just incredibly disappointing once that ball gets past that 8 or 10 inch mark. So let's give it a try. Get my glasses on here. I greased up a musket ball. Well, first of all, I do have the rifle. It's open and empty, so I wanted to make sure that folks knew that. And I have it sitting on a pad, actually elk hide, folded up multiple times. So I got a good pad on the floor, and I greased up. I'll probably slip right out of my hands now, but I greased up a oversized musket ball, and I have a brass pin here and a hammer. And let's get this thing and see if I can get this thing shaped to the barrel. All right, so I got that shaped to the barrel, and I can take I got a cleaning rod with a blunt end. The little tip thing broke off. Sometimes it comes in handy that way. Okay, I just got tighter right there, tighter than at the muzzle, more resistance than at the muzzle. Okay, I got past that. All right, there is where it just started to fall, or it got very light. Now it just fell at a couple inches. Now it's falling clear down to near the chamber. So I got a lot of variation. It is hanging up in a few places. And right on out the action. So where was I? I got about here, and it just fell right down out of the action. And you shake her onto the. So there it is, 380, and that's the groove diameter of the bullets that I was using to try to get a good grip on that rifling. So tremendous variation in the barrel diameter as that bullet starts from the chamber end and then works its way, maybe finds a little bit of grip partway down the barrel, and then it's open again, and then finds another bit of rifling grip as it gets to the last 10 inches of the barrel. So not a quality barrel, not a quality barrel for what you would consider, you know, Winchester rifle. So that's incredibly disappointing. I'm a little stuck on this, and so the only reason I'm posting this video, and I'll say it again from the range, is looking for ideas. Really, I guess a skirted hollow base bullet in black powder would solve that, because it would expand to the bore and go in and out as this thing went down the barrel. Rather not have to use black powder all the time for a smokeless powder rifle. So a new barrel obviously would be something to look for. I don't know if there is such a thing out there. I did find an ad that said replacement barrels, round replacement barrels, 3855, original Winchester stock. Well, I don't know if I'm going that route again. That's what I got right now, original Winchester stock. And so I don't think switching it out for another poor barrel really is the way to go. So anyway, any suggestions you have, throw them in the comments. We'll get back to the range and wrap this thing up. All right, this is the last trial. This is the Reloader 7 with 29 grains. And kind of moved her at least toward the black. I'm still having that 6 o'clock hold so I can see where the black is. Otherwise I cover up with the front sight and it's hard to judge. So I got one there, kind of in that 9 ring, inch and a half, 2 inches higher, and then I got one that flew up here in this 3-shot group. I don't know, this has been the most frustrating rifle I've ever had in my life. I mean, you guys have seen me shoot a Colt Walker and get a better group than this at 100 yards. I've shot lever action open sighted guns since I was 14 years old. Got a moose, elk, mountain goat, 20 some antelope, I don't know how many deer, all with open sighted lever action guns. And I've never in my life had a more frustrating firearm than this Crazy Horse Commemorative. It was not a cheap gun either, so I'm a little disgusted, to be honest with you. I'm sorry to show my frustration, but we have tried about everything under the sun. We did better with those gas check bullets, those lead gas check bullets, than this. This is pathetic. I don't know what to do, honestly. Get a new barrel. I don't know if there's such a thing out there. Like I said, this is like a full choke barrel. You slug it and the bullet falls after going 8 inches down, just falls to the bottom, comes out the action. So poor quality barrel. 86 Brownie did the same darn thing, and I can shoot a 2 to 2.5 inch group with that Browning. So open sights, beaded front sight. So I don't know what to do from here. Anybody's got any suggestions? The only reason I'm going to post this video is to see what you guys think. I got what? Surprisingly, I got over 10,000 subscribers watching this stuff. You guys all have experience. Sure would like to hear about it, because this is, like I said, I spent a pretty good chunk of change on what I thought was a pretty nice quality rifle, and it's either the sights or the barrel. I'm not going to blame Mr. Vollmer's bullets. He's got absolute premium bullets that I finally had made to the chamber diameter, at least to the full choke at the end of this darn barrel. But I can't get any accuracy out of this gun. Surprisingly, Sam got a nice mule deer with it, and beautiful shot. It was with those gas check bullets, and just put one right where it had to be. And I hope that wasn't just dumb luck. So we're gonna have to keep trying with this gun. Like I said, if you guys got any suggestions, please let me know. Sorry to ramble, I'm just frustrated beyond words. But regardless, here we are out at the range. You can't have a bad day if you've been to the range, even though we got a winter storm blowing in and it's cold, and every time we shoot this darn gun it's cold. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But again, it's just it's a frustrating day, but it's a good day because we're at the range, and I just want to again thank you for coming.
If I center you, then I shoot your.
How's that?
That's fine.
That pretty good? How far off center? How far off center am I?
Not bad.
Okay. Those sights stink. That is really, on a day like this with overcast, snowstorm coming in, no sunlight on that brass bead,